Coach, how you doing? Right in front of you.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Coach, how do you plan on splitting up the bowl reps the quarterback reps here during bowl practices and in the lead up to the game, knowing this is Sean's last opportunity, but also knowing these are valuable opportunities to develop the two guys behind him?
Yeah, no question. This is a great opportunity for the young guys to get more reps, but as we get closer and closer to, really trying to get, the Utah game plan going, it's going to be a lot like it was in the middle of the season, throughout the season, where Sean gets the majority of the reps with the ones. There'll be some opportunity for Drew to get some reps with the ones as well, but we've got to get Sean ready to go, so it'll be a lot like in season.
Mike, over on this side, now that you've had some time to, well, I guess you haven't had time to step back because you were out recruiting, but could you give your general thoughts on what Sean's season was like to you, and where do you see his future playing quarterback? Do you think he projects to that next level, and how might he fit in there? Thanks.
Yeah, his season, I'll tell you, he did a lot of great things, Sean did for us, from a toughness standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, and, he played very well consistently throughout the year. So we were happy to see that, and took care of the ball very well, made some big-time plays. Sean, I think his future is bright. I think he's one of those guys that's going to continue to work hard and be very dependable for whatever organization picks him up or drafts him. So I think he's got a bright future as far as that goes. He's very accurate with the football, and he's going to continue to learn, and one thing's for sure, he's going to compete his butt off. So he's going to be an interesting guy to follow and see where he lands and watch his future.
Rich.
Mike, how would you describe the seasons that Katron and Nick had, and how would you describe their maturity level?
We thought they were really good coming in. We were very happy when we signed them and knew that our future was bright, and they continued to develop throughout the year. And I think the thing that really stands out is how Coach Sider, his plan, and how he's brought that room along, and how they're able to complement one another, and also compete against each other, so to speak, but be really good teammates to one another. They push one another, but they pick each other up too. They got each other's backs. And that's been the biggest key to the whole thing, is them being unselfish and playing their butts off for each other. And, their attitudes and their ability to do all things. They've got good strength. You've got to credit their high school programs for how far along they are. And those guys have been top notch and have gradually gotten better throughout the season.
Their maturity level?
Extremely good. They are very mature guys. They're both, neither of them are very talkative guys, but they have good leadership skills that we have to continue to develop, and they have to become more vocal for us. They're our best players, and they got to continue to step up with that. But that's got to be a natural process, and that will happen. But those guys, right now they lead by example. They play extremely tough and physical, and they're great teammates, like I said.
Audrey.
You guys were able to get Drew a lot of reps in games this year. How would you evaluate kind of how that process went of getting him in games, and also what are you kind of focusing on now with him in terms of his next steps with his development?
So the process goes that you want to win the football game. So that's our goal, right, to win the game. And then when you feel that you have a comfortable enough lead, and in Purdue, it was, a situation where he had to go in, So, we felt throughout the season that when we felt comfortable enough putting him in the game, the earlier the better at times. Maybe some guys would have stuck with their starter a little bit longer based on the score. And when your defense is playing as well as we played throughout the season, we felt pretty confident putting him in when we did to secure the game, but also to give him reps that matter. So right now where he's at, he's really come along very well, and we're just continuing to just press on the little things, the things that are, controllable in the film room of identifications, continuing to press on the protections and the basics of quarterback play, and to test and to see the things that he doesn't know or doesn't understand, and try to find that threshold and continue to push on those things. But he's pretty well versed in everything. I'll tell you, he's come a long ways, as has Bo, and extremely happy about both of those guys' progress thus far.
Court.
Mike, your wide receiver situation, Parker, going to the NFL, Mitch will be gone. What's the confidence level like with the younger guys that you have in the program, and maybe the balance of might you need to go get somebody that is going to be proven? Do you have a number one or number two already in the program, and do you have to go feel like you maybe have to go get one?
I think those guys are the younger receivers right now. I think we still have to develop those guys, but yet you see things in practice and some things in games where they're promising without question. The ability's there, the talent's there. We just have to continue to get them reps. They're young players that have to really focus on the details and the fundamentals of the game and the fundamentals of this offense from a scheme standpoint, and they need to continue to press on. But we like our room right now. Is there room to supplement? Yes, there is, and we're looking into that right now as far as recruiting goes, and looking into improving the room any way we can, whether it be high school and portal.
Right here, John.
Mike, obviously Olu and Hunter have already announced that they're returning next year. How important is the return of those guys, and how has the improvement along the offensive line kind of opened up the menu for you?
Say the first part again, please. I'm sorry.
Olu and Hunter Norzak both said that they're coming back next year.
Yeah.
How important are their returns, and how has the impressiveness of the offensive line opened up the menu? When it
Yeah,
comes to play calling?
extremely happy, to hear the news that they're both returning. It gives us a lot of stability up front. It gives us a lot of toughness up front coming back. Great leadership, and I think it speaks volumes to the culture that we have. I think it speaks a lot to Coach how Coach Troutwine is how he grooms that room and the relationships in that room. I think all of that speaks to the culture of our program and to what Trout's done, and how they respect him and how much they care for this program. I think it's extremely important that they do return, obviously, for the betterment of the offensive line and the offense, but that room has continued to get tougher and more physical each and every week, and just a gradual improvement, and we need to continue on that trend.
And how does that open things up for you as a play caller, having the offensive line play that well?
Well, you strive for balance as a play caller, and you strive to make sure that you're scoring as many points as you possibly can at the end of the day, whether it's run game or pass game. And the better that you run it, the better that you can pass it, and vice versa at times. Sometimes you have to start with the pass to open up the run. So having the ability to do both, obviously you have to pass protect. Obviously you want to try to get the tight ends involved in the pass game as well. And a lot of times when you're releasing tight ends on free releases, you're not able to chip and to help your tackles, and to have an experienced group and a group that is able to sustain their one-on-one blocks in the perimeter. It allows you to free up your tight ends and your receivers down the field. So all of those things factor in, and very important for the overall success of the offense.
Time for a few more. We'll go Mike, Bob, and Ben.
Over here, Mick. Mike, you're in the unique position that you recently worked for the same head coach of a team that may be your biggest rival. What does Penn State have to do, having lost to Ohio State and Michigan, to get in their position as far as top four in the college playoffs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what we need to do is make sure that we're executing better and that we're coaching better. I think all of those things add up. I don't think it's one thing necessarily. That's a very complex question that a lot of things factor into it. I think we need to continue to recruit at a championship level, and it starts with that, but at the end of the day, we have to continue to take care of the ball and finish and control what we can control. So I think our guys are hungry, and I don't want to really look past this Rose Bowl and that sort of thing with this question. It's difficult for me to answer at this time. But, I think those things all add up. I don't think it's one thing, and we're going to continue to press on and drive that home.
Mike, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I wanted to ask you about Drew Shelton. He had a pretty big role for you guys at left tackle when Olu couldn't play in November. What did you see from him in his first year? And also, if you could just elaborate maybe on Bo Prabula's first season at Penn State. We didn't really get to see him. A lot of people have in their minds have Drew as the heir apparent to Sean. So what have the conversations been like with you and Bo Prabula as he kind of moves forward?
Well, first, Drew was, the one thing that really stood out to me was his competitiveness, as a true freshman coming in and having a significant impact on us up front and playing as much as he did. He didn't bat an eye, and he stuck his nose in there and got better and competed his butt off. So he's going to be a great player for us moving forward, so really excited about him. Bo is an unbelievable quarterback and person, and his inner drive, that competitiveness is, as good as I've ever been around. It's impressive. He is an awesome kid to be around. He takes care of his business. He's going to continue to compete, and that's really been the message, is just put your head down and compete, and that's what he's done. And with continued opportunities, he's going to continue to impress us. He's going to seize the moment. He's just gritty. He's talented. He can do a lot of different things for your offense. He's a very dynamic quarterback, and I'm excited about him in the future of this program.
Ben.
Like, I imagine at the end of the day, you want your starting quarterback to be good at everything, but the presence of a running game when it comes to the timeline of how you want your next starting quarterback to prepare and how you pick and choose what you work on next, does that impact development at all when you know that maybe there's a difference between Drew or Bo have to lean, they have to be the guy versus, they've got some guys behind them that can carry that load?
That's a great question. I think you have to play to the quarterback's strengths, so you want them playing at a very confident level. So therefore, if they throw on the run, well, you better have some plays where you're throwing on the run. If they're a dynamic dual threat, you better have some zone read or power read or whatever your plan is from a run game standpoint to take advantage of your personnel strengths. And, to really try to outthink yourself in that regard, I think what you want to try to do is put the best product on the field, period, and play to the quarterback's strengths. That's at the end of the day what you have to do. And then complement everything around that, right? And to help those quarterbacks. There's still going to be both two young quarterbacks next year, right, with limited experience. So we need to make sure that with our backfield, we have some direct tailback runs, that we're handing the ball off to our tailbacks and coming downhill with a physical demeanor and attitude, and establish that toughness in that ground game and just come straight downhill at people, and then have the play action passes off that. And then there's a lot of dynamic plays that you want to incorporate because they take advantage of space and put defenders in conflict with, whether it be RPOs or whether it be some quarterback zone runs, which they both can do. So we have a good problem, and all of those things are part of it, and at the same time, you have to play to your personnel strengths, both at quarterback and tailback and receiver and tight end. So those are all the things that come into it, and then at the same time, you don't want to be so spread out that you really don't have an identity, right? So that's going to be really important for us moving forward, to have a plan as far as that's concerned, and to have that toughness and grit in your run game that we want to hang our hat on.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.